Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Powerful Man Show. I am your host, Doug Holt, with my co-host, Tim, the Powerful Man Matthews. What's going down, brother?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm
Good.
enjoying the fact that I've had a haircut. Oh my god, first time, second haircut in a year. COVID got me good with my hair.
I know that's important to you.
Always on YouTube I've seen some of the replays back. I'm like, oh my god, I look like shit.
None of the men here listening to us or watching us on YouTube are watching us for our looks. That's something I've come to know. Maybe for you, man.
I'm still in denial. I'm like, sure, I'm holding out for it.
Yeah. As one of our guys said, you have the best hair in the coaching business.
Yeah, I don't know who that was. That was quite a funny comment.
It was.
So I've got something I want to bring to the table.
Cool.
So we've seen a bit of a trend over the past, I guess it's been coming up for a while on and off, right? And it's when men, and we've done a different podcast on this, right? You know, how to talk to your wife about when you want to invest in yourself, how to approach that conversation. But there's a bigger piece to that. And that is how you ended up there in the first place, right? How you end up in the position where you've got to ask your wife's permission. Maybe it's whether it's to invest into your own growth, whether it's to buy something else for yourself. Maybe it's a toy you want to buy. Maybe it's somewhere you want to go. Maybe whatever it is, you know, it's the fact that you're in a position where you have to ask your wife for permission is a major red flag. So what I want to bring to the table, Doug, I want to talk about how guys end up in this position. Maybe guys are listening, and what to do when you're in it. You know, how to regain the leadership so that you can start to, you know, naturally lead yourself in the relationship in the way that, quite frankly, your wife wants you to lead.
This is a great topic. I can remember, Tim, when my wife and I were going through our rough time, right, in our marriage. And I remember feeling as if everything was a struggle. And it was. And I remember, and I've talked about this on previous episodes. I remember when it came to finances, right? That's where it showed up the most for me, but it showed up in other areas, right? But especially around finances, that my wife stopped trusting me all of a sudden. Right. She stopped trusting me with the money. She questioned my purchases. She questioned where I was, my asset allocation strategies and what I was doing to build wealth for us. And, it was really neutering. I'll use the word neutering, right? Felt like my balls were cut off, so to speak. Of course, I had my business account and I did everything I wanted to do in my business account. And then we had our personal accounts. And when it came to withdrawing or spending or investing money in our personal account, whether it be a trip or coaching or a program or, a new car or whatever it was, I always had to run it by my wife, and it always met with resistance, right? It was never a question of you're the leader of the household, you get to choose. It wasn't that at all. And I remember just feeling like a lack of control, right? And having to run it by her and kind of get her decision. I felt almost like an employee. Like asking my boss if I can make a purchase and was this the right idea? And then eventually I found myself second guessing my own decisions, not in business. Like business, that was good, but second guessing my own decisions. Like, should I really get this? I don't know. It's a lot of, it's this much money. And rather than looking at it as an investment for myself, right? And what that did is it started to bleed over into business. I started second guessing myself and being less decisive in my business. And I started being less decisive out with friends, the few times I would go out with friends. And I found myself doing this more and more. Now, fast forward this to just the other day, right? As you know, I dropped almost $6,000 on a sauna, right? Going to get a new infrared sauna here for my man cave and going through, never had to do anything, never had to bring it up to my wife. That part of my life is so in the past. Right? She trusts every decision I make financially and otherwise to lead our family. In fact, my wife doesn't want to know, she wants to know, I guess, in the form of communication, But you look at it today, our love life, our sex life, and everything is on point. And she doesn't need to know, right? She just trusts that I'm taking care of things. So if I want to buy a sauna or I want to book a trip, you, Arthur, and I are going to be going Scotch tasting in Scotland coming up, and going on an epic trip for 3-4 days together and doing adventures. I didn't need to check on the dates. I didn't need to say, hey, is it okay if I do this? That time period is long behind me, and there's a way to get out of it, guys. There is actually a methodology here to get above and beyond that. And there's a reason that your wife is now requiring you to run these decisions by her. And what it does, at least what it did for me, Tim, we see this with the other guys, is it actually further cements your role as the beta in the relationship, right? When I had to go ask my wife for permission to buy things, it further cemented her as the alpha and me as the beta. Whereas if I would have just done it, maybe we would have argued, right? But we were friggin' arguing anyway, maybe we would have argued. However, it would have further cemented myself as the leader of the family, right? As the actual alpha in the relationship. And I think that's a critical distinction for a lot of guys, especially today.
So I think two things. Well, one is how these guys get out of it, right? But I think what's also important is to touch on how they end up in this situation. Because I think for a lot of guys, they think they're doing the right thing, don't they? They think that they are asking the wife for permission as a respect thing. Oh, I'm doing it because it's respectful, sure, right? And often I would disagree with that. And the reason why I disagree is often a lot of the guys do it because they're terrified of making a wrong move, right? Maybe the marriage isn't going too well. Maybe the connection isn't there. Maybe there's been some warning shots of separation, and they're terrified of putting a wrong foot down. So instead of doing something that might rock the boat further, like finances, which we all know is a symptom of, like you just said a moment ago, lack of connection and trust, instead of being decisive and doing what they feel called to do, they play it safe, thinking it's been respectful and that it's what the wife wants. But in actual fact, it just creates more distrust and more breakdown of the relationship.
And it's completely true, right? You're trying to be a nice guy here. At least I was, right? You're trying to make things right. You're trying to right the ship of your relationship. And again, you're further cementing yourself in that position that's gotten you there in the first place, right? You're further diving down that rabbit hole of problems. And, this is just the way we were taught as guys. Okay, it's conflict. My wife's arguing. We're arguing, we're fighting, we're not having sex. I want to fix this. I'm going to hire a coach, or I'm going to get help. Right. And now I got to go ask my wife for permission to invest the money and the time to do that. And when you're doing that, right, when you're asking her permission, you're really also essentially saying, I don't trust myself to make this decision. And I need you to validate or tell me that I'm making the right decision or the wrong decision, but I need you to tell me. And that's where we get into a lot of problems as men, right? Because your wife is going to go, okay, you're unsure, so I'm going to be unsure too. Why would I have you spend that money when we're in a bad place? I'm going to keep that money in our pocket so I can spend it, or, so I can get half of it if we go through divorce or whatever it is. I no longer trust you to do that and to lead us. And again, you're further cementing yourself into a beta, or what we call deer, right? Deer is, you start defending, explaining, excusing, and really reacting to the situation rather than just leading the situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's it. When you're in this spot, you're in a place of distrust, and you're distrusting yourself.
Yeah.
Naturally, why would your wife trust you? Hey, I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to take a risk. And she's not going to say, to be fair, some wives have said, do you know what I think is a great idea? Yeah, go do it. But it's very rare. Very, very rare that the wives say that. because she wants to see you take control and say, hey, do you know what? This matters to me. You matter to me. Our relationship matters to me. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to fix this. And she wants to see and feel that level of decisiveness and direction from you in order for her to start to trust you again. So, in some respects, it could even be a shit test. Asking, first of all, don't ask your wife, but if you do and she's saying no, could even be a test. What's he going to do? Is he still going to go and do what he thinks he should do?
Yep, I think definitely. And I think this is, so they always talk about, you hear this in spirituality, coaching, et cetera. In my journeys over the 20 years of being a coach and mentor, you hear about how your finances, as an example, are related to your bedroom, right? It's commonly talked about. And like there's a link there. And so just like in the bedroom, your wife doesn't want you to say, hey, do you want me to flip you over and put my finger in your butt? Or, hey, do you want to do this? Or, golly gee, how is that feeling? She wants you to take control. You can look at R&B songs, country songs, hip hop songs, by women artists. And a lot of those songs, when it talks about the man taking control. Right? There's even a song, the chorus is, I want you to take control, take control, take control. Right? That's a whole song. It's like the chorus of the song. I can hear it in my head right now. The woman wants you to take control in the bedroom and in the other areas of your life, including finances and your schedule, right? She wants you to do it. Now, she wants you to include her. She wants you to do it out of love and respect, of course, but she wants you to take control. And again, it's the same thing in the bedroom. I can guarantee you, right, that your woman wants you to take ownership in the bedroom, in the finances, and all the other areas. Because there's a direct linkage here, guys. In fact, there was a video I did, Tim, when I came down here with my wife. We were working on a woman's coaching program, right, with her. And I was just brainstorming with her. And I said, what is it that when the women you coach, what is it they want? And she filled the whole whiteboard and I filmed it. But most of it is women want their man to take control, right? In the bedroom, they want to be a well-fucked woman. They want to be taken, right? By almost like prey, like a predator and prey. And that's what the powerful man with the wolf. You don't want to be the deer, guys, right? You don't want to be the beta. But they also want you to take control in the financial decisions. They want you to take control and prove yourself in the decisions on where you're going to live, right? What your family's going to do, what you're going to do on holiday, all those things. They want you to take ownership. Then they'll work out the details. Right? They'll decorate it. They'll do all those things, but they need that container to be safe and free and to be in their feminine energy. When you take them out of their feminine energy, so asking for permission is one thing that takes them out of their feminine, right? Doing it and then asking them to take ownership of something, right? So maybe it's in the bedroom. Hey, what do you want to do tonight? What kind of sex do you, that's not what they want, right? They don't want to be in feminine energy isn't decisive. Masculine energy is decisive. And so in order to get into your masculine energy more, which is what most of us men need to do, we need to start being decisive and making decisions and sticking to them.
Mm-hmm. Which leads on to my next point. So how can men who find themselves in this position, right? They start to realize, wow, I'm asking my wife permission. Maybe it's to go to the gym, whatever it is, big or small, it doesn't really matter. And by the way, guys, this will be showing up in other areas of your life. You may still be doing well in business. It'll show up in second guessing. It'll show up. You just feel it when you don't have that decisiveness. It's like a fire that's inside of you. But anyway, so let's say that some guys are listening, yeah, and they find themselves in this position. What can they do to get out of it? I know we've spoken there about starting to be decisive. It's kind of a little bit vague to a degree. What can they start to do?
Well, what can they start to do? Great question. Be decisive, right? Draw a line in the sand and make a decision. So, okay, let's just say I'll use the territories, right? So we have 5 territories we focus on in the powerful man: self, health, wealth, relationships, and business. So be decisive in the area of yourself. How are you going to take better care of yourself? Pick something, do it, right? Health. Are you going to work out or not? Don't hem and haw. I might do 75 hard, or maybe, I'll do CrossFit, or maybe I'm going to go running in the morning. You're not being decisive. You're in feminine energy in that point. Make a decision. Boom, going to the gym, 5 a.m. I'm going to go 3 days a week. Done. Move on. Decision, move on. Wherever it is, relationships, right? Hey, I'm in a sexless marriage or I'm in a crappy marriage. This doesn't work, right? I'm no longer going to accept this. So I'm going to get help. I'm going to join a program. I'm going to invest some money. I'm going to invest some time. Book the time in your calendar. This is non-negotiable time, right? Make the investment and go. In your business, same thing, right? If your business is stagnant or not growing or you're hemming and hawing around a partnership or whatever it is, make a decision and move on. Stop hemming and hawing, so to speak, or going back and forth on the possibilities of should I do it? Should I go ask? Just do it. Want that new car? Make a decision. What is that new car going to get you? Is it worth it? If the answer is yes and you can afford it, buy it. Move on. But when you're stuck in that neutral zone, you're just stuck. You're stuck in limbo. You're stuck on the fence is what we talk about it at The Powerful Man. Get off the fence, we tell the guys, right? Get off the fence, step to the line. We use that terminology a lot when we're coaching the men. And we're not saying which side of the fence you need to get off on, right? Hey, I'm not going to work on my marriage. Cool. Done. Move on. Rest with the fact that you're in a sexless marriage. Rest with the fact that you're in a marriage that's not that good. Separate, do whatever you need, but rest with that. Or I'm going to go and join a program, invest in myself in the marriage, and I'm going to do everything I can to make this work. Cool. But either way, get off the fence, right? And then step to the line is really about owning things, like being the best you possible is the best way I can kind of summarize it in this short podcast. But you need to step to the line. Are your standards there? Are you stepping up in this situation or are you stepping out? And I think it's really important also for guys to do.
Yeah, I was just reminding the guys on the Inner Circle call before this. Guys, get off the fence. Just be off it. One way or another, just be off it. Mm-hmm. It uses so much energy just being on the fence. It's so much easier to be off it one way or another. So I think, you raise a great point, right? Get clear on where you have been indecisive. So I think an action step you guys could take. Make a list of where you have been indecisive in your life. Make a list. Where are the open loops? Things that you haven't made a decision on, personally or professionally. Maybe you're thinking about working out again. Maybe you're thinking about where to go on vacation. Maybe you're thinking about, make a list of everything you're thinking about and knock it out. Just take an afternoon and just make decisions on it and close those loops. And from there, make a commitment to be decisive. And the thing with this, guys, is you've got to risk getting it wrong. Perfection will kill your decisiveness. If you want it to be perfect, it's going to kill it. There's a risk that you get to take with being decisive, and that is that you might get it wrong. But the strength that you'll get and the confidence you'll gain from being decisive will strengthen the trust you have in yourself that if you do get it wrong, you'll be able to handle whatever happens.
Yeah, and it's so true. And you got to do it. It's like working a muscle, guys, right? You got like working a muscle. Like, example, we're talking about needing your wife's permission. Just stop asking for it, right? And then we're not saying you exclude your wife from every decision at all, but stop asking for permission to live your life. Stop asking for permission to lead your family. Stop asking for permission to be you.
That's a great one.
You don't need to ask someone's permission to be you. When you know a decision is right for you and your family, you just step into it. Simple as that. You just step into it. So you really want to stop doing it, guys, and stop now. Make this day the death of needing your wife's permission.
Yeah, and validation, because they go hand in hand.
Really
you're asking for permission, the chances are you're also looking for validation from her. Absolutely. You don't need either of them at all.
And here's the thing. If you're going to make today the death of needing your wife's permission, guess what? You need to be decisive about that. Don't say, well, sometimes I will, or on Tuesdays, or 5 p.m. after happy hour. No. Boom. I'm moving forward. This is what we're going to do. And if you get pushback, that's great. You can have a conversation about it. But at least you're leading. And that's the key here, guys. That's what we want you to take away more than anything. Today is the death of needing your wife's permission. And today is the day that you lead your wife, your family, and your tribe. Tim, great topic.
Well said.
Yep. All right, gentlemen, that's a wrap for us at the Powerful Man Show. As always, go to thepowerfulman.com/bonus, where you can get your free bonus training. That's thepowerfulman.com/bonus. And if you can, go ahead and leave us a review wherever you're catching this. It just allows other guys just like you to find this show that Tim and I put on, as well as the guests that we bring in. We have some exciting news to bring to you guys. We're expanding in so many different ways. We'll bring to that shortly. But if you can leave us a review, it does help us out. Gentlemen, have an amazing day. Remember, today is the death of needing your wife's permission. Make it a great one, guys, and we'll see you next time on The Powerful Man Show.